You've probably heard the phrase, do what you love, and you'll never work a day in your life. And you've probably questioned that statement quite a bit. It's easy to say, not as easy to follow through on. One thing that I think gets us a lot closer to that possibility is understanding our zone of genius. Yes, even you have a zone of genius. I know it can be hard to believe sometimes. We get so caught up in our heads like,
I don't feel like a genius, so where exactly would that zone be located?
There's a combination of some things that can help you understand what the purpose of your life here might be. And I think when we figure that out, we get a lot closer to understanding what it means to never work a day in your life. Zone of genius is something that a lot of people have talked about, and actually you can read about it in a great book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And in that book, he talked about 4 zones that we tend to play in. Top would be your zone of genius. Just under that is where a lot of people spend most of their time, and that is in the zone of excellence. Now, the zone of excellence might feel pretty comfortable. You might even think you're in your zone of genius sometimes when you're in your zone of excellence, but there is a small difference. When you're in your excellence, you have talent and skills, and you're pretty incredible. But those things that you have talent and skills in don't give you energy. When you're in your zone of genius, you look forward to the things that you have the ability to do, the talents, the skills, the passions. So there's a big difference there. Where you are good at, where you get lots of compliments for being incredible. Do you feel something inside of you that's like, yeah, but I don't love it? Well, that's in your zone of excellence. And so we're getting closer, but we're not there. The other 2 zones, obviously places we don't want to spend as much time, but we do. We sometimes have to be there. Zone of competence and zone of incompetence. Zone of competence is stuff you're good at, but lots of other people are better. Incompetence is just stuff you suck at. So knowing these zones, you can start to go, okay, well, I wake up in the morning and I start with a job that is absolutely only in my zone of competence. And so maybe that's where we can start to deduce what is missing from the fulfillment of your life, and therefore why you do feel like you work every day of your life. Let's go for the top. Let's go for zone of genius. Here are a couple of questions to ask yourself when it comes to figuring out where this is. First, what work do you so love doing that it doesn't seem like work? You love it so much, you would do it for free. Please just tell me everything will be taken care of and I will spend all my time on this. The second question to ask is, what aspects of your work generate the highest ratio of positive results compared to time spent? So what is it that is making the most happen advantageously in your life, but you're probably only spending a small percentage of your time on? If you're lucky, you're spending a large percentage of your time on it. That's the goal. Your zone of genius has a very specific purpose, and that is to help you when you're lost. You start to understand what you need to say no to. You do not need to pay for other people to feel comfortable with your own happiness. We need to hang on to that happiness. We need to use it for ourselves. It is going in our tank for use. So how do we figure out what that zone of genius is? Well, at the end of the day, what do you do better than anyone else? What is so specific about you that you do better than anyone else? And that combination comes from a few things. First, your passions. What do you love? What do you love so much you would love to do it all the time? We talked about that. But also, what skills do you have? Your skills are those tools that you pull out whenever you need them. Some skill of mine that is not in my zone of genius, but it is in my zone of excellence, is video editing. It was just sort of something that came with the territory when I started making videos for the internet. I needed to edit them myself. I'm pretty darn good at it after 10 years. I'm not great, I'm not a professional, and it doesn't give me energy. But it is a skill. We learn skills through practice and training, and something we do over and over and over and over again. What skills do you have that contribute to your zone of genius? So while video editing is in my zone of excellence, it's a skill that I can still leverage in my zone of genius because I know how I want the final product to be done. And I can speak a lot more intelligently to someone else who is helping me to complete the final product. A actual video editor. Then there's your talents, the things that you are good at, the things that you stand out for. People are very likely to compliment you on your talents, something that really shows how you're special, something that you have over a lot of other people. One of mine happens to be communicating. Sometimes I'm great at it, sometimes I'm terrible. But what I am very good at is public speaking, and that's something that not a lot of people enjoy. Actually, some might choose death over public speaking, but it's something that I have developed as a talent, being able to communicate to an audience on stage. What helps to elevate you to stand out in your talents? The fourth category I want to mention for your zone of genius is one that was inspired by Elaine Welteroth, and she added this fourth category. I'd never heard zone of genius talked about with this, and I thought it was really brilliant and something that matters a great deal. And that is to add to your talent, your skills, and your passions the intersection of your values. What matters to you more than money? What matters to you more than anything in the world? And why is that? That, I think, continues to differentiate you even more, and that makes your zone of genius even more special. When we can spend time really doing things that reflect in our personal values, that's just another level of fulfillment that I think many of us are searching for. If you're trying to figure out why maybe every day is not something to look forward to, if you're trying to figure out what it is that makes you special, maybe these categories can help you to wrap your head around that. It's so important that you know what you love. I actually really hate the phrase find your passion now, because someone's telling you that you don't know what you love. And you actually probably really do if you weren't so busy preemptively judging it. Find out what you love. Ask people what you are talented at and that you've lost sight of. Look at the skills that you've built out over your career or your life, things that you've learned from a lot of repetition and doing the work. And then think about what you believe and think about what's important to you. And look at all of those and develop an idea of how you could best use your time with each of those areas. It's going to be a big challenge to spend time in your zone of genius all the time. But at least we know where it is when we have the opportunity to spend time there and fully realize how we can build out more ways to spend time there. If we just keep saying, I don't know what I love, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do with my life, we're just continuing to drill into our heads what we don't know. And that is not helpful. That is not genius. That is ordinary. I am going to give you a challenge for this video. It's the text message challenge. I want you to reach out to people that you know. It could be family, it could be friends, it could be colleagues, it could be coworkers, it could be mentors, it could be your coach. And I want you to ask them this question. If you had to pick one thing that I am better at than anyone else you know personally, what would it be? Sounds a little cheesy, right? But we have a network for a reason, and it is to ask for their help. And in the journey of finding out more about yourself, I think the people that know you would love to know that they can contribute to that. That's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. Remember, subscribe for good vibes, kiss the ones you love, and go after the life you want. Cheers. Okay, let's get through this one. Don't mind my wrinkled shirt. That was not in my zone of genius today. See what I did there? Don't forget to go after the life that you want. Yeah. Okay, I really want to go home now and see my kid. Let's do it.